here working on a project in front of my computer. And in between those moments where you just need your brain to rest a little bit, you sort of like go ahead and just tweet something. And that's what I'm tweeting. I bet you tweet something, and then I tweeted something, and I'm seeing different people's reaction to it, and some of them, as if some are not really getting what I'm trying to say, and then some of them, yes, a particular lady who is it a lady, a handle? Let me say the word handle, who tweeted at me, and I felt okay, needed more clarification, and hopefully put it out here. And let's have it. So what I tweeted was that the people who keep saying that only APC and PDP can win election are actually enablers. They are enablers of the party, of these parties, continuously giving incompetent candidates the party tickets rather than the competent candidates. I've said it before, I'm repeating it again. All the parties in Nigeria, they have competent candidates that actually do the job. But the thing is that the competent ones seem never to get the ticket. Why? Because the power brokers that be would rather have the incompetent ones be in position, because when they are in position, then it serves their interest. They are not serving the interest of the nation, and they can manipulate these people, and the status quo continues, and it's for their own selfish interest, and they continue to enjoy that. So when you come and you keep saying to them, we know, and I see some with this sense of pride, and I know it, let the future come, and then it will be like that. That's self-defeatism. You're first of all defeating yourself. You're saying it's just like saying to an abuser, I know I'm worthless, I'm useless, you can abuse me, I don't have no matter what, I won't have self-esteem or this thing. Yes, go ahead, anyone can. And then of course, what do? They will definitely abuse you. It's as simple as ABCD. They definitely will do that. So when people are coming into this, I don't know whether they don't see what it means, the implication of that, of telling them that irrespective, you are the ones that will continuously win. So when because you said to them, whoever they put in there, they're the ones that are going to be voted for. And that's why when a lot of people come and say, the National Assembly, they are not doing anything. They are see what it is. I say, why would they do anything? There's no incentive. They have no loyalty to you. You do not vote for them. You only endorse their ticket. It wasn't voting. What happens in Nigeria on election day is endorsement. Because when you say it's only APC and PDP you are voting for, they can as well put any kind of thing, and they know that you vote for them. And when the people get there, they know you didn't vote for them because of who they are, that you voted for the party. And their loyalty is going to be to those who gave them the party tickets and not to you. And so all of this sitting down and people just sitting back, it's only APC and PDP, whether you like it or not, it's not, yes. It's just like somebody say, whether you like it or not, you die poor because you were born poor. So don't even bother striving to get some money. There are people who have that mentality, and they are still there. They are still poor. Good for them. And like Jumon said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. That's just the way it is. And so I just did that with, and I felt okay. So in some people, maybe there are some people who are not getting it. Let's have this conversation. I saw someone who said to me, what happened? I just saw some people decide
every Monday.
Yes. No, I didn't get patient again. I know that hello, Samuel. Just hold on for a while till when we come to. I'll bring you on now to speak. But just hold on for a while till when you're brought on stage to speak. And so that's what happens. And then you say, oh no, I'm right. I want to be right. Yeah, it's good to be right. And so what does the right take you? So when you say this, then that means you can't even thrive. You're already killing yourself. You've killed your mindset. Mindset is everything. You've killed your mindset. You've told yourself that you can't do anything. You're helpless. And guess what? You truly will be helpless. Because you can't be greater than your mind. You can't do more than your mind. It's a mindset thing. The moment you say you're helpless, indeed, that's what's going to happen. You're going to be helpless unless they're ready for them to allow you to own that voice or whatever. That's the only time that you'll be able to own and that's the thing that is happening. And I see a lot of people, just coming in to say that, it's only APC. Yes, of course, that's the reason why they will not give you the most competent. That's the reason why they will tell you today, this thing is zoned here, it's zoned there, is this, is that, who brings the most money, gets the ticket, who buys it, not the most competent. And then when they get to office, why would they work for you? They're going to work for the party brokers because you've ceded your power, you've thrown it away, you've said that you're not important, and they heard you loud and clear, and they said indeed that you're not important. Hello, Samuel, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? PDP, right? Kindly unmute yourself, please, if you're not called upon. Samuel, go ahead.
So now, good afternoon. My name is Samuel. I'm calling from Calabar.
Going to let them to return the thing back to you.
Hello. I'm joining from Calabar.
Hello, let me go ahead.
Yeah, I just joined him now. Concerning the issue of APC and PDP bringing out a candidate. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you, but the issue is not APC and PDP bringing up candidates. The discussion is people who keep on saying that it's only APC and PDP that can produce the president. And I'm saying that people who do that, they enable these two parties to continue to give not the best of their party members of the candidate, but the worst or the one they think they can control. That's the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, I'll join you guys later.
Okay, talk. Okay.
Hello? 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 Good afternoon, Madam Aisha. Can you hear us? The space is silent.
Sorry, I didn't realize that I was actually muted. So thank you so much, Ayola. So what I was just trying to say is that when you come onto a space, it's good for people to just listen and get the what is being discussed. And then when they want to contribute, then they place a request. But I see sometimes people just come in, they place a request, and then sometimes you're asking people this and they are not ready. So it just takes away, it just helps and makes it go on much more fully. So Ayola, yeah, it's your turn. Thank you.
Yes, I would say that that would be a very ridiculous argument to make that it's only APC and PDP who could present candidates or that's capable of winning elections. The truth of the matter is that the people are actually yet, in that political sense, to understand their political power, the power of their vote. And like you used to say, Madam Aisha, that people should not have the illusion that their votes do not matter. Because if votes don't matter, and these politicians will not spend, just a minute, Sam, these politicians will not spend millions upon millions trying to buy those votes. So when the people understand their political power, it's the only political infrastructure that exists is the will of the people to organize. Another ridiculous argument is that other political parties that could present trustworthy candidates do not have the structures. And then the question becomes, what is the structure? What has the APC and the PDP put in place to empower them or make them capable of winning an election? We see that in the real sense, there is no structure, aside that of vote rigging, aside that of electoral malpractices, vote buying, and the weaponization of ignorance. When they eventually rig themselves into office, they make sure that the people do not have enough education, the people do not have enough enlightenment to call them to order or put questions before them. If this is what we call system, and we say other political parties do not have those systems that can help them rig elections, they don't have those systems that can help them do mass vote buying, they don't have systems that can help them escape electoral malpractices with impunity. If this is what we call system that other parties don't have, then we are not actually ready for a progressive political conversation. So for me, I align with your view that the APC and PDP are not the only parties that could present candidates in the 2023 election, and they are certainly not the only political parties that could win the 2023 elections. Like I said, and I will repeat again, that the only solid political infrastructure is the will of the people to organize. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, that's your last quote. Can you just give me that again? I want to write it down and properly, because that's something I'm going to be using and putting it. Hello, Aliola.
I'm with you, ma'am.
Okay, can you give me that last quote? I want to write it down.
The only political infrastructure is the will of the people to organize.
The old woman, the only political
infrastructure is the will of the people to organize.
Is the will of the people to organize. Fantastic. Well, that's Ayo. What's your name? Ayola. Yeah. Thank you.
Ayola Babalola.
Babalola. Thank you so much. That is such an amazing quote. And you just said it all. Is the will of the people to organize. And so when people do not have the will, when they do not want to do the work, when they don't want to get their hands dirty and their feet dirty on the street and on ground, when they just want to sleep and wake up and then they say, oh, this has been done, that is when they will tell you that, oh, only APC and PDP can win. Otherwise, the people will know that indeed, like Ayola Babalola said, the only political structure is the will of the people. Where the will of the people is, they can, will do anything that they set their mind. So thank you so much for that take. And indeed, something else that you said, which was in terms of structure, what really are the structure? The structures are the people. It's nothing other than that. Are the people. It's not building. It's not money. That's why they use money to buy people. So there are two things. It's either you wait. For some people, we have to they will use their money to buy people because the structures are the people. Or some people can have people that will volunteer to be part of their campaign and do all the work. And that's what people must put their mind to. It's not all of this saying that, oh, it's only APC and PDP that can give the president. But by the way, another thing I always say that one of them, with the money, with the structure, with the whatever, we also lose. Because it's one person at the end of the day, when you say talking about president now, or whatever seat it is, it's one person that will win. Others wouldn't win. So whether you have structure, you don't have structure, somebody else will lose. And I feel like 2019, a lot of people keep making fun of those who were in other parties, the alternate parties and all of that didn't win the presidential election. I'm like, hello, out of the major two, also one also lost, even though they've been in power since 1999, lost 2015, they still lost in 2019. So what's the big deal about this failure that people are being sort of like ridiculed because they failed? Ihunanya, can you please unmute yourself and speak? Ihunanya Daniel. I hope I got that right. Daniel, is your turn now. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Not Dennis, Daniel. Go ahead. Hello, Daniel, can you hear me? Ihunanya Daniel, can you hear me? Okay, can we have Jack, please?
Okay, yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Auntie Aisha, it's good to be in the same space with you and have the opportunity to actually speak.
Thank you.
You're one of the few persons I respect so much. I remember the last time we did some of these, the endears protests. We had a couple of conversations, but of course, I didn't identify myself, so you probably know I'm the one. But then, to the issue, the topic, I want to respectfully disagree with you, Ma, on this particular issue about the PDP, the people that believe that PDP and APC can win elections now being an enabler. Now, I believe, personally, I believe that as at 2023, the current presidential elections, that the only parties that have the capacity to win the election is the PDP and the APC. And I have my reasons, and I'm going to explain. My reasons are simple. Elections are won by, yes, candidates play a very big role, but aside the candidates, if you watch how elections are won, if you remember, any day we have presidential elections in Nigeria, we usually have the National Assembly elections as well. So which simply means that aside the capacity of the candidate being able to win elections, there are local politicians which influence how these things work. And the only reason why the APC won elections in 2015 was because some powerful politicians, whether they are clean or they are corrupt people, is another argument altogether. But the point is, these people have influences in their local communities, and it is their influences that win elections, especially presidential elections. So the point is, if we have candidates, good candidates, so to say, that wants to win an election, I believe in fighting from within. I am an advocate of good and credible candidates infiltrating these parties and disrupting the process. It can be done. We usually copy things from United States of America and some of these advanced countries. Why are we not copying their policies? Donald Trump came into the scene. He could have floated another party. US is a multi-party system, but he decided to invade in one of the parties and fought from within. He destabilized the powers that be and became their candidate. With the structures of the party, he won elections. Whether you agree or not, there are structures of parties. And when I talk of structures, there are about, I don't know the figures, but there are thousands and thousands of polling units in Nigeria. Elections are expensive. Either we agree or not, but these are facts. Yeah. So if we have, nobody can claim really that there are no credible candidates in PDP. Nobody can claim that there are no good people in APC. Now, what do we have to do as a people? I have this idea that we should actually encourage these credible candidates from these parties to actually let us push them. Yeah, because we know that at this point, I for one, okay, so let's look at it. Before now, in 2019, we had people we look at as credible candidates. Let me use Professor Kingsley Moghalu as an example. He wanted to be the president, and then he registered with the political party YPP. He came out. We had Showore, we had other people, and we had Obiose Ekwesili and a couple of others. Now, Professor Kingsley Moghalu got less than 25,000 votes, right, in YPP. Why? Was it because he's not a credible candidate? No, that's not the point. The point is that everybody actually shared the sentiment that, okay, this guy will do something. He has the capacity, so to say, and all, right? No, but the problem is that the party he's floating has no structures whatsoever. Nobody knows that party in Kaduna, for example. Nobody knows the party in or maybe Ede or somewhere like that. Nobody knows that party in. So at some point, we must agree that party structures play a big role in winning elections, right? So now,
Okay.
yes,
I'll need you to round up so that because there are other people who are requesting, and then because I need to speak on the points that you've raised. You've raised quite a number of points.
Okay. So my like I said, my personal view is that some of these parties, like the third force and all, don't necessarily be the presidential election. There are other there are other things they can win. Houses of assembly and all of that, where they can have maybe serious influence and all, all these elections can be won. But I don't think that any of these third parties has the capacity right now at this point, 2023, to win the presidential election. I go to Mike now. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Jack. So one of the things straight up that I would say here is the fact that dissenting opinions are actually opportunities for us to look at issues from a different perspective, and we must always welcome disagreements. I love disagreement because they make conversation very enriching. If you have everybody agreeing with your point of view, so there's nothing to really learn from that because you're all flowing the same way. You're not using another lens to look at it. So there was no need, Jack, of you apologizing that you're going to disagree with me. It's absolutely allowed, and I love it, and that's the way we enrich the conversation we're going to have. So the first thing I'm going to say to you, top of my head, you said elections are expensive, and I totally agree with you. So when we say elections are expensive, and then we expect candidates to come in and use the money, their own money, or the monies of the power brokers to run for election and go into office, and then we say they don't work for us, how are they going to work for us? And most times, so we are giving enabling environment to people who have looted our commonwealth. Because most of the people that you see, they have looted our commonwealth, they perpetuate themselves in office or they perpetuate their stooges in office. So elections are expensive. And Jack, I love the fact So like I was saying, apologies, I dropped off earlier. I was saying, Jack, you mentioned something that we don't look at things that happen in other countries when we're copying some of the things they do. And you mentioned the issue of Trump having to go into one of the established parties. He didn't just come as an independent candidate or good. But you forget that Trump, with all the money he has, he's a billionaire. And yet, monies were donated for him for campaign. He's actually making more money out of this, even after he left office. But yet, we sit down here and we enable and we are okay with people who have stolen our monies. We know these are looted money. And even when candidates come in who have not even stolen money, we laugh at them with something like, you are a minister. I was on the campaign trail of Dr. Obiozepesi, and a lot of people are like, how can she be minister and she doesn't have billions? So for not stealing Nigerian money, it was as if it was a crime. You see, that's one thing. Yes, elections are expensive, but the people must donate to candidates. We must put our monies where our votes are. That is the only way we can be the ones to ensure that when they get into office, they know we were the ones that put them there. They will know they are accountable to us, and they will know that they will listen to us. We are their employers, and we are not their slaves. Because what we have now, they think we are their slave. So that's one. In the case of polling units, I totally agree. We have the last time was around 120,000 polling units across the country. They've added more to it. So I don't think it's more than 150,000 polling units. So you need people to be at all of these places. Yes, true. I agree with you. They will need structures. But who says the structures have to come from the political parties? And so, Jack, one of the things you understand, like you talked about EndSARS protest. On the 1st of October 2020, I was part of a protest, and I did a video that actually went viral. Where this video, I was saying that Nigerians, when it comes to protest, you will see 10,000 retweets, but you will not see up to 1,000 people on the streets. But guess what? That was on the 1st of October 2020. 7 days later, Nigerians proved me wrong by coming out for EndSARS protest in their thousands and all over 30 states within the federation. They all came out protesting. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. When we keep saying that, it's only APC and PDP that win, nothing else, we've taken away our power. We've given the power to these parties to do what they want to do, to put in the people who are not competent, to put in not the best food, but the worst food. Because we've given up our power by saying that only they are the ones that will win. No, they are not the only ones that win. In terms of polling units, you have people there. Citizens can come together. Citizens can say, okay, I volunteer my time. I don't have money to give. I don't have anything, but I volunteer my time at social ward. I will be the person that will stand for whatever this candidate in this world. That is what volunteering is all about. That is what campaigning it's all about. We all have to be political activists. We either are running for office because we are competent, we either are helping to raise candidates, helping candidates to raise money or be part of their campaigning, or finally when they get into office, we hold them accountable. So just to run through some of the things that what is his name again? I'm so sorry, I'm so poor with him. What is his name? The last word that the last speaker said. I'm so sorry about that. I'm very, very poor when it comes to names. So the next thing, of course, he said something about infiltrating the parties and winning from within. Okay, yes, good idea to infiltrate the parties. I mean, I think you have to be all part of the parties, whatever it is. But how do you get to win when you've told them that you are the only ones that can produce the candidate? So there's no incentive for them to, even when it's to put in a credible candidate. So what they will simply do is that they will put in the people that will maintain the status quo that they have been enjoying from, and then they continue for that. So you see, you're giving them an undue power when indeed the power actually belongs to the people. Candidates do play a huge role, but then people play a greater role, and that's the thing we're talking about. We can't keep saying that, oh, it's only those parties that will. Guess what? One of the two parties will also lose. And so what does that mean? Yes, YPP lost a presidential election. Yes, ADC lost president, or whatever it is, ACPA, they lost presidential election. But also PDP lost presidential election. So if structure, it's money, and everything is what the so-called structure is what gives you the to win the presidency. Why didn't PDP win it? They lost. So the fact that YPP lost, and they also lost. Yes, you say Kingsley Moghalu got so vote. This one for Laduro Teid, Dr. Obi got so vote. All of that. The people didn't vote. The people decided that, oh, it's only the two parties that will win. And they say, and the biggest catch we have, people will say, oh, we don't want to waste our vote. For me, the greatest waste of vote is for you to vote somebody who you know has no capacity to give you good, credible leadership, has no capacity to give you good governance, accountability, and transparency. But you still vote them anyway because you want to be part of the winning team. And I think I'll just round up here because there are other points. I will take them all as we progress with the conversation. I see King Arthur on the line. The thing is that when you sit back and say that, oh, I don't want to waste my vote, I would rather vote this person. Well, that is it. That's the reason why you're not taking your chance with the people who can give you the good governance. And election is not the same thing as your normal football game fan kind of thing. Oh, I'm a fan of so club, and I want them to win, and I want them to feel good. So whatever it is, let them win. It's not the same thing. You're part of the winning team. So for the next 4 years, you're going to get the bad governance because you didn't take your chance on the person that will give you the credible governance. So when we are talking about, oh, YPP lost, ADC lost, this, that, lost, please don't ever forget that PDP also lost. And then by next election again, one of them also, PDP, or whether one of them or both of them are also going to lose. And so if you keep calling out people for the fact that they're losing parties, for the fact that they're losing election, let's not forget to also call out these big parties too. You can't be making fun of the smaller parties that have lost when even the big parties with all the monies and everything are also losing election. King Arthur sort of like, okay, Ayola Babalola, go ahead. King Arthur has sort of like dropped off from the speaker.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. You practically said almost everything I want to say, everything I wanted to say. Mr. Jack is confusing a whole lot of things together. There is practically no similarity between America's politics and Nigeria's politics when it comes to party ideology. So if you have a particular ideology, if you're talking about Republicans and Democrats, you know the general standpoint on let's say gun violence, you know the general standpoint on abortion rights, on immigration. So you know what you are coming with, and you know what party to infiltrate. You know what party to join to like boost or promote your political career. It's not the same with Nigerian political parties. It is only in Nigeria where somebody can sleep in PDP today and wake up in APC tomorrow. Somebody who contested against the PDP in 2015 elections, contested against the APC on platform of the PDP, in 2019 elections. So it's practically impossible not to get your integrity, not to get your competence soiled in the political mess of the APC and the PDP. And then elections are expensive around the world. But what election thrives on majorly is the ability of the people to express their happiness and frustration through their votes. Until we get to that point, we are going to have this illusion that election is all about money. If election is all about money, we have also seen the capacity of Nigerians to crowdfund for their favorite political candidates. In 2019, Showe raised over 200 million naira in campaign funds across the country and beyond. So these things are not alien, and they are not theories as we think them to be. If it's about money, people are going to raise money when they are ready to express their political frustration against their leaders. But we must never think that election thrives only on financial resources. We need people who are tired on the streets of Lagos. We need people who are tired in villages in Kaduna. We need everybody, people who have money, people who have social capital, people who have connections, student union leaders. We need everybody who can do the foot job on board. So the main important thing is the willingness to express your frustration against this system. People rejected money. We have seen this in another election. People rejected money. This old woman rejected money. They said they didn't want the APC. So number one thing required for a systemic change is the expression of the people's frustration. So we must never think that it's about money alone. I'll use the mic.
Thank you so much, Ayola. I think you did say it's never about money alone. Monies are used to do something. For example, if you look at some of these parties, they have to pay those who are like that stay at the polling units. I can't remember the particular term they refer to them. Polling units, what again? Where they help to ensure that the results are collated. Polling units agents, I think they are called. Yes, these parties pay them. You can volunteer. For example, when I voted in 2019, at my polling unit, I was the only one who voted for my candidate and the party. And I went there in the morning, and I didn't leave the polling unit until about 3 a.m. in the morning. And I was there for that only vote. The following day, which was said, I went to the collation center in the morning to ensure that my one vote got in there. And when I was done, I left there happy. I defended my one vote. So the person who I voted for didn't have to pay me to be the agent to follow the vote and ensure that it was collated appropriately, right? So there are people who volunteer to do that for free. And so if they volunteer, then you don't need to pay them. And there are people who will come and give one thing or the other. There's so many things that people will decide to do that will not require money. In terms of money, like I said earlier, as long as we do not put our monies where our votes are, the people who have looted our collective wealth will continue to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges, and they will continue to rule this country the way they want to. It's either we decide, we're going to sit down and be looking at them as onlookers and they will do what they want to do, or we have the courage to say, look, we will decide. And one of the things I've said now, and which is part of the thing that First Citizens Alliance is all about, to say, let us have a people's convention. Let we, the people, at every level, at the community level, what level, wherever it is, so begin to decide the kind of leaders that we want and put them forth and say to these parties, look, these are our candidates. These are the people we want to vote for. So that if you do not give them the ticket, wherever they go to, we will follow them there and we will vote for them there. When we begin to do that, then we send a signal to all of these political parties that we have that it is no longer business as usual. It is now business unusual. And if they do not give us competent candidates with capacity and character, with courage, that are patriotic, that have empathy, if they do not do that, what we will do is that we will simply carry our vote to the parties that will give those people the ticket. And so that's when we begin to vote candidates instead of party. At this moment in our nation, we do not have the luxury, like other countries that have established democracy that they have, in saying that, oh, it is only parties. We will vote for parties and all of that. No, we should be voting candidates instead of parties. We should be looking at who are the people that can give us good governance, accountability, transparency. Who are the people that will give us rule of law? Who are the people that will ensure that good quality education is no longer dependent on the economic status of one family, but irrespective, we give us good public education. Who are the people that will ensure that there is an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, so that there will be reduction in unemployment? Who are the people that will ensure that our out-of-school children, our over 13 million out-of-school children get to go to school? Who are the people that will ensure that the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody in Nigeria? Who are the people that will give us a Nigerian dream, when somebody knows that when they work hard, they can get something irrespective, and not that they have to know somebody before they get it, or they have to get into power and begin to either loot or do one thing or the other. These are the people we get in there. When we get them in there, they cannot decide how they want to, if it's a get two-party structures, whatever, get there. But right now, voting with parties, and they know that we're going to vote them irrespective, they will keep giving us the candidates that don't have capacity, because those are the ones that they can control. Ayola said something. I mean, I'm not an American. I don't vote. They aren't doing it, but I know some of this, their party ideology. What is the APC ideology? What is the PDP ideology? Somebody wakes up in the morning, he's in APC, by afternoon, he's in PDP. Take Obaseki, the current governor of Edo State, which is my state, by the way. Our last election, he was in APC. This election, the previous election, the recent election that was done, he contested under PDP. Then his opponent, last election, was in PDP, and this recent one was in APC. They sort of like shift. And yet, we are not seeing that they are united. What is simply the APC and PDP are the same. They are united, and they just give us these two platforms and just keep switching from one end to the other. We the people keep voting them and just saying that, oh, we are helpless, we are powerless. But if you look at, when we're talking about party ideology, like for example, the abortion rights that Ayola made mention of, I know that when I talk of the Democrats, I'm going to be talking of pro-choice, right? When I'm talking about the Republicans, I'm going to be talking about pro-life. So I know that. So these are the things. We have to do things in an unusual manner, not the way that we've been going on with it. Harry, please go ahead. Unmute your mic, please. Let's tell you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Aisha. I think this platform is very important because sensitization is critical. Unfortunately, I may have to disagree with a few points that some of you have raised, because the reality is, okay, let me start by answering your question. The original question.
Okay. Hello, Henry. So, sorry to apologize. So, I don't know why you always.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying to, yeah.
No. I just want to say something. I don't know why we always feel like we have to say unfortunate. No, there's nothing unfortunate about it. It's the way it's supposed to be. We're having a conversation. Disagreeing is perfectly okay. So everybody, please, it's needed. We need it. That's the only way we can have a robust conversation. Thank you so much, Henry.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Thank you. So I was saying that the reality is not only PDP and APC can produce the president in Nigeria. That is fact. But that statement is also different from it is only PDP and APC that can produce the president in Nigeria now. And this statement is very important, because the reality is, I don't like comparing Nigeria to the US or Ukraine per se, because our dynamics are different. For instance, I'm from Enugu State, maybe my ward, Ugoyeheka Ward 1 now, for instance. If you tap the PDP chairman, national chairman in Abuja, and tell him, get me somebody in Ugoyeheka Ward 1 now, it takes you 20 minutes and he gets you a person there. If you tell somebody, the only parties that have that kind of reach out, for instance, the APC, the PDP, in few instances, maybe APGA in Anambra, or PRP in Bauchi and Kaduna, or ADC in Ogun State. So the reality is, if we continue to emphasize that not just APC and PDP can produce the president in Nigeria, we lose the point and we tribalize the issues, which is there is so much hard work to be done for an alternative force to take power from these major parties. And that's why when you promoted the idea of the Citizens Alliance, I was very quick to join, because until we get to the point where we say, What is the platform where if I call the national chairman and say, you know what, I'm looking for a contact in XYZ ward in Jigawa State, and we have a link. That is the only structure that can deliver something as serious as the presidency of Nigeria. So I think it's a very serious position. It's a very, very difficult task, and we must pay attention to the fact that these parties, that's the APC and the PDP, have the broadest platform on Nigeria now, and the only focus we should be making now, as people who want to change the narrative, is how do we present an alternative platform that has that kind of reach to the grassroots. Until we get that alternative platform, the reality is that it is only APC and PDP now that can produce the president in Nigeria, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry, for that clarification of now and later. So the thing that I'm going to say is that every day is a now. Every day is a now. In 2019, we had this conversation where people said, oh, it's only APC and PDP that can produce the president. Guess what? It's almost 4 years later. We're still having the conversation. Why? Because we have not believed that indeed we can. So the issue of whether it's now or it's not now, as for me personally, and I might be wrong, and please, everybody, please, feel free to let's have that discussion, is that when we keep saying, it's the first thing you have to, everything starts from the mindset. And if you're unable to see it, if you're unable to dream, you can't even have it. Because the moment you say you cannot do it, you've already defeated yourself. That is self-defeating yourself, and that's it, nothing can be done. By 2027, 2026, we'll be having this conversation again, and we'll all still be saying that, oh, it's only APC and PDP that can win it now. So every day is a now. The first thing that will happen, and like you talked about the fact that if can we call somebody, and that's what for Citizens Alliance is all about, where we're saying, let us come together and we can maintain our individual identity, maintain our organizational identity, have a platform where we are meeting and focusing on what is most important to us. What do we want to achieve? Our aligned goals, our shared goals, we all work together towards it so that we don't end up, we're duplicating, we end up having a synergy, being better. At least 1 + 1 equals to 11, 13, rather 1 + 1 equals to 2. And if we're able to have that, it's about people volunteering. For example, for Citizens Alliance, we already have volunteers across the country, and you can reach out to somebody and say, do this. That is the same thing that happened during NSAS protest. And I gave the example earlier on October 1st, we thought Nigerian youth cannot come out and organize. We thought that, protest, maybe it's only when certain people call for protest that people will come out. It's only certain people that can organize a protest and it will work. And guess what? The NSAS protest shattered that. Everybody was taking leadership. When people say that the NSAS protest was leaderless, that is wrong. People were leaders in all capacity. It was not the traditional form of leadership that was seen, that was exhibited there, where you expect to see one arrowhead as the rest of the people. People were taking leadership all across. So every one of us, like I've said before, and I'm going to repeat it, there's no residential address on social media. There's no residential address on Twitter. We are all from the grassroots. And it's every one of us, even as we are right here in this place, decide that, okay, in our localities, in our communities, these are what we're going to do. And that's why Citizens Alliance is saying the current campaign on that is one for PVC. Register for your PVC, or if you already have one, get 5 people to register for their PVC. Get those 5 people, help them get 5 people each to register. Organize a PVC registration drive or be part of one in your community, and then finally vote with sense. So if every one of us decide that we're going to do something, we all have different polling units. That's something. That's the beginning. That's us knowing that yes, we can. And if at the end of the day we do not win, it's a marathon, it's not a race. There's no reason why, because you came out the first time or you did something the first time, you did not win, and then you beat yourself up, it's because I don't know you. You just didn't win. You look at what are the lessons, because it's a failure. It's not falling down. Failure is staying down. What are the lessons you get from that? Because even the so-called structure, like I said earlier, one of them or both of them are going to lose. So because it's only one person, one candidate at the end of the day that gets it there. So in terms of this mindset, and when we keep saying that only APC and PDP can produce the president, now what you've simply done is that you've become an enabler of them giving you candidates that are not competent. They should say to them,
Look, we're looking for credible candidates, and any party who is not giving us credible candidates, we're not going to vote for that candidate. Let's choose from the best among the best, instead of choosing from one of the lesser evil, because we've seen that lesser evil at the arch of power is monstrous evil when they are in power. Is it OPC? Please unmute your mic and go ahead, please. Is it OPC Planet Opeyemi? Opeyemi, go ahead.
I'm with you now. What really happens is that in this country, what we really need is that we need each other to stand unite. And firstly, other parts can rule in Nigeria, but we people, we are not united. We are not in one voice. And what really happens is that like this part revolution, which so is leading. We need that man to win us one was. And I will plead, we should just give him chance and opportunity to win us.
Hello, Opeyemi, we are not hearing you. Probably you might need to drop off and come back again if it's network issue. Okay, I think he's having a bit of a network issue. Hopefully we get to hear from him again. Please, if you would like to speak, just kindly request for the mic so that we will hear from you. And please, the dissenting opinions are very much welcome. We need to learn from each other. Dissenting opinions are opportunities for us to look at issues from a British perspective and learn more from each other. I think, Ayola, Henry, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, my hand was up because when you said I wanted to clarify because your statement when you said those who say that APC and PDP can produce the president now are enablers. I disagree because in my opinion, I'm not an enabler. I really want the best for Nigeria, but my focus is, all attention must be, on the most important part, which is mobilization on the ground, and that's why I said it was with all joy that I joined the Citizens Alliance, and I registered and, would want to follow up as much as possible. But we must not tribalize the work involved because it is serious. It needs all hands on deck. And until we get to that point, we must just have to acknowledge the fact that the major parties, the bigger political parties, have put the other smaller ones in a handicap position. When you say that ABC lost and PDP will lose, or one party would, PDP lost in 2019, or that one party will lose anyway out of the two major parties in 2023. It's different when PDP loses and they have 50 million and YPP loses and they have 1,000 votes. It's really not the same thing. So I'm saying we must not tribalize the work involved. I'm ready to put the work in my own small way. And everybody who is involved must appreciate the fact that it's really a big deal to win the presidency of the country and that all hands must be on deck for this big deal. And that's just the point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry. And I totally agree with you. It's major work. It's huge work. It's almost impossible. But remember what Nelson Mandela said. It's impossible until it is done. That's the thing. And that's why I will always refer us back to EndSARS protest. And I'm one of those people. And even on the 1st of October 2020, when I went out for a protest, I did a video. That video, I remember at M. Kabrik is here. Maureen, she was one of those who took that video where we were talking about the fact that Nigerians do not come out for protests. They sit on social media, they will retweet, but they wouldn't come out. But 7 days later, that my claim was shattered. And that impossible became possible after it was done. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that we don't have a lot of work. I'm not saying that if we put in the work that we must win by 2023. No, it might take the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We'll keep working for a country that works for us. But giving up our power to tell people that, oh, we know we are helpless, So irrespective, you be the one to win. It's where I draw the line. And like I said, it's when you say, oh, okay, somebody lost by 25, somebody had 25,000, but but they still lost. That's the point I want us to understand. And if we put in this power, like you joining the For Citizens Alliance, we put in this power behind candidates, competent candidates, where we are donating of our time, where we are donating of our money, where we are donating of our strategy, where we are giving our all to say that let's get this thing working, let's get it rolling, and going on to do the work, something would happen. But when we say, and when I mean by enabler, you can be an active enabler, you can be a passive enabler, you can be enabling by not knowing. When the enabling comes from the fact that they know that you have given up your choice to only the two of them. So they know, and that's why they say they have this, there's this arrogance, even for when you see from the opposition party right now, PDP. And I've had my runs with them, and they know me. And for me, I don't back, and I will say it as it is. When they sit down, they are expecting that Nigerians will be so tired of this and come back to them. It's that arrogance of not looking at the electorate as if they have the power, because indeed the electorate are giving up the power by saying that it's just these two parties. So the enabling comes from the fact that when you tell them this, they listen to you, they hear you loud and clear, and they know that irrespective of what candidates they give you, that you will vote for those candidates. Even if they don't put, even if they put an umbrella and just broom and say, okay, these are what, you will still vote for them. Because you've given off of your power. That is what I'm talking about. Why don't you get that your power back to say, look, it's not either APC or PDP. It's the person that gives me the most competent candidate. And votes are not won by structures. Votes are won by people putting their thumbprint. And if we go there, we appear, we put our thumbprint. It starts with one vote. They start counting one, this person gives, the second one gives 1 million, 15 million. It goes on like that. It is the people giving. It is not the parties. It's not the structure, because we are the structures. We are the people. For me, it's that power. Let's not limit the power that we have. Let's not throw it away and just tell those people that, oh, indeed, they are the only ones. And when we do that, they give us their candidates. The candidates win and they get into office. Do you know why they do not work for the people? Do you know why they do not have respect for the people? Because they know that the people did not vote for them. The people merely endorsed them. On election day, we do endorsement. We don't do voting. And so they don't care. And so they know that the next time they can, that's why Samuel Olu can invite the soldiers to go to Lekki Toge and shoot at protesters, and he will still be in office, and probably he's contesting 2019, and he expects that people will say it's only APC and PDP. So that is the enabling. But when they know that if they do something, when they get there, they will work for the people, otherwise they wouldn't. Hello, Adekule. Good evening and welcome. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah.
You're not the one driving.
No. I'm just walking. I want to get some time. So, thank you for the opportunity. And again, I would like to toe the line of area as well. I think it is, we are not really considering.
Hello, Adekule. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're not really considering the volume of work that needs to be done to get into office of the presidency. So again, and I just want to use an analogy. When I tell people in Lagos, the emergency toll line is 767 and 112. Most time I do mistake. Instead of me saying 767, I call 737. Why do I call 737? Because that's GTB number. And that number is like everywhere. It's in my face 24/7. And I do a mistake and say, oh, emergency number is 737 when it should be 767. Again, it shows the volume of work these guys have done. Let's just take a moment back in history. Prior to 2015, when the APC won the presidency, tell me that fragmentation of ACN, AMPP, or CPC could have won that election. There was no way. At that point, from 1999 to 2015, it was only one power, it was only one party that was winning the presidency. Why? Because they have the structure, they have the network, they have the people behind them. And when you say structure is not just about people. It's about people and resources. These guys are putting that effort, they put in everything to make sure, they get to where they are. So we can't just jettison all these things and say, we should bring in another. And another thing I want to also say is this wishful thinking that an alternative party to either APC or PDP is going to do well. I think it is totally wrong. And if there's anything to tell us or to teach us this, it is that 2015 election. So many people had high hopes in President Muhammadu Buhari, like high hopes, like, okay, that this guy is going to do so many things and do so many things. Guess what? They got into power and it was bullshit. You get? So what are you saying now that, okay, if you give another party a chance and, they get there, they won't mess up. No, it's not done. Even at that, the fear that they can be rotated between these two guys is enough for this guy to also sit their house up. So I think it is just wishful thinking for us to say we hold these new parties, we hold them. It is not we that hold them, they hold us the right to prove to Nigerians that say, yes, we are ready to do the groundwork. We are ready to put all the structure of people and resources together to make sure we have a chance at fighting on the presidency. And finally, I just want to say something again that I am not so fine or I'm not so happy with this obsession with presidency. And because I feel like people have different opportunities to make impact on their local levels. So I'll take somebody for an example, which is Kingsley Moghalu. Kingsley Moghalu used to be in YPP. Now he moved to ADP. Why did he move to ADP? Because ADP is a more prominent party that at least well known more than YPP is. And see what happened. Anambra election held of recent. What happened? Moghalu never went to Anambra and said, okay, this is ADP's candidate, vote for him. There was nothing even on his timeline or anywhere that suggests that ADP has a candidate in Anambra, which is even the state of origin, and say, okay, guys, let's work for my party candidate. We have, we have great manifesto as a party. Vote for him, and I feel like that would be a stepping stone for him to contest for the presidency. It's good that he's very vast, he's knowledgeable, he's intelligent, he's all that. But again, see the volume of literacy in this country. Are you telling me that people in rural villages, like in my village, will know where Kingsley Moghalu is? They don't even know they hardly even know who the current CBN governor is. As long as they're able to spend their money. But you are not saying these people on election day, they should vote for a Kingsley Moghalu. So again, it shows the entitlement mentality. These people think we hold them because they feel like, oh, APC and PDP are not doing very well. And I think finally, I just want to also make mention about the party failure. So we talk of APC, we talk of the group, we talk of PDP, we talk of the umbrella. The most literate person in Nigeria knows that. Who else, even among the elites, among the well-read people, do you know the logo of any other party? Do you know if, for adventure, you get to the ballot paper that day and you want to remember the party of Kingsley Moghalu? How am I supposed to remember that? So I think it's a lot of work that needs to be done that we can't jettison that work and do a wishful thinking that, okay, these people, Nigerians owe you the votes because they are not getting what they want at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adekule, for the points that you put forward. And so I just think can you please mute yourself? Okay, I have to do the muting. So on the issues that you've raised, the first one, the last one, totally agree with you, and I've mentioned that several times that the ones they call the alternative candidates should not just sit down arrogantly and think that, oh, because these other two main parties have failed, and then automatically people will have to vote for them, because that's the same arrogance being shown. You've not even gotten into office, you're already showing that. They definitely, it's not about, there's no wishful thinking. Anybody that doesn't prove himself ready to be able to take it, there's no need of people giving them their votes or anything like that. People must work for it. They must show that they're ready to put in the work even before they are voted into office, not for them to just sit down and expect that, oh, they will just be voted for and that is it. So So that's one. The other thing also is the fact that the executive arm of government is not the only arm of government. We have the legislative arm of government, and the bedrock of democracy is actually the legislative arm of government, which mostly in Nigeria we don't even bother about them. So we just allow all sorts of people. And for me personally, for 2023 election, I'm focused on the legislative arm of government. If you can get 50 to 70% of, competent people, then there will be a shift. A shift will happen from incompetence to the ones who are competent being the ones that will be vocal. Because what we have now today in Nigeria is the incompetent ones who are vocal, and the competent ones are actually being shamed. So getting people into that legislative arm of government, and it's not as difficult as it is and not as expensive as it is to get people into the executive arm of government. And if you're going to fight someone, the best thing to do is to come from where they are weakest at, and that is like the legislative arm of government. You have periods when there are rerun or there are by-elections and many people don't turn out. You have people at the National Assembly with simply less than 10,000 votes. They are there. And so if you're able to come together, get people to actually mobilize, you can get credible candidates into these offices. On another point you raised on the issue of Anambra election, not just Anambra election. I remember when they did Lagos State, Lagos State local government elections, and I was saying, where are the people who will say they want to run for election? This is your time to be visible. This is your time to be out there. When you're the campaign for all of these people who are going for councillor, who are going for chairman or chairperson, and then when you campaign for them, you're visible, you're being known, they're seeing you and all of that. And just like with the Anambra election, you just don't wait and just say, oh, it's only your own campaign that you're going to do. If you're going to be president, are you going to be president alone? Who are the people that you're going to manage the country with? You need the National Assembly to get a lot of things done. And let me even go back again, like with the legislative arm of government, most of the things that we're asking for, Nigerians are asking for a new constitution. Now you're asking for resource control. Some want regionalization, some want this, some want that. The legislative arm of government can actually do that. It's not the president that has to give us a new constitution, because if the president doesn't veto that, you can do it. They can pass into law and bypass the president and get that. But we do not, focus on this the national the legislative arm of government, the National Assembly, and also the state houses of assembly. There's something that you mentioned when it comes to we're looking for one number that we can use, emergency number in Nigeria. I've always advocated for 419. Everybody in Nigeria knows 419, so we can use it for good and actually have something that even a child would remember. Oh, you're in trouble, dial 419. You need police, dial 419, whatever it is. But yes, I get your point on the fact that small parties are known. Oh, you remember 737, you don't remember. But being known, it's something that can happen within a very short time. There are things that are known, but with people coming together, talking about it, just going on, before you know what's happening, things that particular either party or whatever it is going to be known elsewhere. You talk about the people who are there amongst the elite, the educated, where they might not know party logos. They might not know party logos because they know party initials. Yes, there are some that you want them to be everywhere, but the thing is all about what is the work that needs to be put in there. Structures are not only people. You say there are people are many. 1,000 of us donating 1 million naira each will give us 1 billion naira. That's something. 1 million of us donating 1,000 naira each will give us 1 billion naira. There are people who can donate 10 million naira. There are people who can donate 20 million naira. There are people who can donate 5 naira. There are people who can donate 10 million naira. We need to begin to donate to candidates. We should stop expecting that people will bring in their own money. By doing that, we are also enabling the culture of corruption and stealing our commonwealth. That's what we're doing. When we sit down and we expect that a candidate is the one that is going to bring whatever it is, or it's only the parties that will bring him, we are enabling the corruption. We are enabling them getting into office, and then what they do is that when they get into office, they just go on and they steal our money, they keep it, and they steal towards election. So we must stop that. We the people must begin. We the people must begin to also donate money, because we must put our money where our votes are. That's very important. Then on the issue of polling unit officers and all of that, it's us donating our time. If 200,000 Nigerians across Nigeria decide, or 1 million Nigerians decide that they're going to volunteer to be polling unit officers, you don't just vote and go home. Vote and stay and defend your vote. And if you come out and they will not be able to have the capacity to rule. And so the people are there volunteering. We don't volunteer in countries where things or people come out. Like in the last year, I said, look at what happened in United States. Yes, they voted, they didn't like the president, and what happened? They came out en masse and they voted. We need to do that, but we stay here. We're fighting people who voted in 2015. Oh, we're sitting there, oh, you did this, you did not do that, why did you vote this? That's not the thing. And whoever is voted into office, on election day, we have a pact with the people that have voted for. The person that emerged the winner is the person you hold accountable, irrespective of whether you voted for that person, you did not vote for that person, whatever happens. But I will end up here, and I have the next speaker that will speak. I will end up here by saying that when we cannot expect that people will go into office and automatically give us good leadership. We must hold them accountable, and that's where we have failed. As citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we do not occupy our office of the citizen. We just sit down, we vote them, we go to sleep, and then they begin to do all sorts of things. So citizens must make demands, because there are two sides of governance. The supply side and the demand side. Those voted into office, they're supposed to supply good governance, and we that vote them into office are supposed to demand for good governance. As long as and both of us are completely failed at our jobs. With no demand, the citizens are not demanding as they should for good governance. Those who are voted into office are not giving that good governance. We are both failing. And if there's no demand for good governance, the easiest thing to give is bad governance. Thank you so much. Good evening, sir. Good evening. We have Ted of Peter side here. It's a pleasure having you. The floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, Achi. First of all, thank you very much for hosting this forum. Somebody brought it to my attention, not you. So that's why I joined in a little bit late. But I've been listening and I caught some of the comments, and I wanted to say something because I can tell that many people are disillusioned and honestly believe or have convinced themselves or bought into the press of APC and PDP and believe that those two parties are invincible. Please let me mention some things that are different in 2023 versus even the last election, 2019 or 2015. Number one.
Hello, sir. I think there's a bit of network issue. Hello? Okay, he's trying to connect. So while he's connecting, let me just go on to say that honestly, 2023 is open. It's open. It's open, and there's 50. And there's something I failed to mention earlier. In 2015, many people said that APC will not win the election. Totally. Even members of the APC. People said that election will not happen, blah, 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 and whatever. But when the people decided that it was going to happen, they changed it. And I said to people a lot that in 2019, the deciders actually did not come out and vote. They were disillusioned and they refused to vote. We must remember that it is not the party members or the party loyalists that actually get the winnings. No, it's not. It is those people who have no loyalty to any parties. When they decide to come out, they do. I've sent an invite. Yeah, I've sent an invite to you, Mr. Tedo Peter side. Yeah, kindly check. I think because of the network connection, we had to drop off and come back again. So in 2015, many people did say that APC was not going to win. I remember a spokesperson of the then president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the spokesperson, Doyo Okupe, actually called Aisha Buhari, even after he was made candidate, a serial loser. And up until the last moment, many people did not know it was going to happen. But there are people, and these are the people for me that I always say, they are the Nigerians, courageous Nigerians. These are people who in 2011, voted Jonathan because they didn't want Buhari. Nothing. And we must never forget the fact that he didn't win immediately. He lost 3 times. He kept coming. And the reason why he kept coming was that he had people people that were donating money to his campaign. If it was his own money, he wouldn't have been able to do it. And if we're looking for card, we must keep coming. We must donate to those people, and they must keep coming. It's not to come once and go. And in Twitter 2015, he called him a serial loser. But when Nigerians who felt that, in 2011 had voted Jonathan, and he failed in 2011, and they said, no, they will not enable failure. And they voted 2015, and they failed to hold him accountable. And the failure continued in 2019. Most of them stayed away. 2019, if you had been voted at all of the things that have been happening now, you won't see it. So we must never get to a place where we say to ourselves that, the power is not with us, the power is... No, the power is with us. The thing is, are we ready to put in the work? Are we ready to put in the money? There are many of us here that can afford to give 1 million, we will not give. There are many of us here that can afford to give 100 million, we will not give. There are many of us that can afford to give 1,000 million, we will not give. And then we see that and say, it will not work. We are waiting for people that already bring their money and put it in. And as long as we keep waiting for people to already bring their money, then we are enablers of the corruption that they are going through. By this year, by now, they're already amassing money for the 2023 election, because they know we are not going to give them money. And then we subtly endorse their looting the money for them to, because we say, election is expensive. They have to, yes, election is expensive, but it's done with the money of the people. We don't think it's strange that somebody who says he's coming to serve you is actually using his own money to come and serve you. Then it's no longer service, it's a business. And when they get in there, the first thing they are going to do is to recoup their money. David, go ahead, please. Hello, David, can you hear me? While we're waiting for David, please, if you're interested in speaking, just go ahead and send in a request. Is that David? Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Let's hope the line holds this time. Thank you, Hajia. Please let me just explain one or two things that I was trying to say are different for 2023 versus 2019 or 2015. Number one is that this time it looks as if we are only going to have 18 political parties. So if you remove APC and PDP, that leaves you with 16 other choices. The last time, 2019, you had something like 89 choices and things like that. Now, these other political parties, the 16 political parties, if we are ever going to have a third force in this next election, it will come from one of the 16 parties. And some of us have spoken to the party leaders. You have an opportunity, but guess what? You should tell us why you qualify to be the third force. You tell us why you qualify, and I've given some of them a condition. Why would you, a political party, a small political party, you occupy all the party posts, and you tell the youth to come and join your party at the bottom? If you are serious and you want to become the third force, the first thing you must do is vacate something like 80% of the party positions and issue an invitation to all Nigerians who believe in the idea of a third force to come and occupy the other 80% of party positions with me. You will still get the credit as the originator of the third force. The other thing that I think, Hajia, we have to do in terms of voter education, I keep on asking voters, and I've done some work in the last few weeks, even at different levels, the village level. Some confess, you took money from somebody, 5,000, he said you should vote for him. Assuming you took the 5,000, you went in there, you voted for somebody else, what would have happened? Most times they tell me nothing. Sometimes they say they were threatened that there's some spiritual force or the other that will punish them. Now, I learned one thing from the late M.K. Abiola in 1993. He said he would never tell Nigerians that don't take money from me for his enemy. He says, take his money, you can ask him for more, but guess what? After taking his money, do the correct thing, vote with your conscience and vote for me. If we educate people that they should collect all the money from the thieves who offer them money, you can ask for more, but go into that polling booth and vote your conscience. Because right now there seems to be a near perfect link between taking money and who you vote for. Taking money from somebody is an illegal contract. It's unenforceable. So we need to educate the populace that please take all the money you want from the person, even ask for more, ask for rice, ask for beans, after all it's your money. But when you enter that polling booth, vote your conscience, the Lord will protect you. If you get that message out there, people will even be scared to pay large sums of money to voters, because many voters will take their money and betray them. That becomes the beginning of the downfall of APC and PDP. But the viewers here are right. That third force must organize itself properly, must truly open its doors and practice internal democracy so that many people can join and run for various positions, House of Assembly, House of Rep, and so on. So the point I'm making also, the last point I will make is that APC and PDP will be secure forever if they were fundamentally well organized, who knew of the various states. But the reality is that we know. So we have to do two things: encourage the third force seriously, and also be ready to exploit any fallout if APC implodes after the convention, or if PDP implodes, because even PDP can implode over the simple issue of zoning for the presidency. If it is zoned to the north, people from the south will be angry and ready to vote for somebody else to teach their colleagues a lesson and vice versa. So these are all things that can be exploited if people think properly. And these other 16 political parties between now and the next 6 months. So I don't really rule anything out, and I'll never say never. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's such a pleasure hearing from you, and indeed, never say never. That's just it. And I think if we all have that mindset, we will go a long way in what we're hoping to achieve with our country. On the issue of the voting, vote for the electorate, for them to collect money and vote. So what normally happens now is that before you get the payment, before they will pay them, and then when they get there, they will vote. And there was a particular time, I think that was in Edo State, when they started all of that, people were actually going and then they vote somebody else. I remember there was a particular election where that was and all of this is, I'm so ashamed because I'm actually from Edo State. These things actually started from Edo State, where they were asking people to bring their PVCs. And so what people would do was that they would just go and photocopy it, colored one. It looked like the real one, and the real one. So what they now started was that you must show. If they call it, I think they call it show and pay. So when you vote, you have to show them. For example, we saw a video currently of former Governor Ayo Fayose sitting down during, I think, a primary or something like, is it primaries or something like that? And where people were like turning the thing to show. So that's what they do now. You pay, you vote, you show, then that's where you get your own payment. So the politicians have gotten onto that. There's the other question that you raised, which is the youth, and I think I've done it too. I even did a thread on it to say, when you tell these parties that you don't have, there's only they can win. And I'll keep saying this, you've given up of your power. I've said there's no party in Nigeria that doesn't have competent candidates. The thing is that they are not giving them the tickets. We have youth in all of these parties, and when people are saying that youth should get into politics, I always say to them, youth are already in politics. They are the ones who fight on social media on behalf of these politicians. They are the ones who do strategy. They are the ones who travel. They are the ones who do a lot of things. They are the ones who do mobilizing. They are the ones that are used to fight and beat up other people. So for the good, the bad, and the ugly, the youth are already involved, right? So it's not a matter of telling the youth that, you should come and be involved in politics. So for now, politics is not a love affair. Remove your emotions out of politics. Politics is about strategizing. Politics is about being pragmatic. Politics is about putting your emotions aside. And if the youth For example, the youth are being shot. They use them for election. At the end of the day, they give them nothing. They are just saying to them that, oh, you will come and then you get this position, is it SA or SSA or whatever it is that they call them. Why can't the youth in those two parties now, even if it's the two main parties, all the parties, say to the party, their party big wigs, look, we need so amount of seats to be given to the youth, competent youth. Youth, it doesn't mean that we are talking about the competent ones. If you do not give us this, we're not going to do the job. We need this right now. They should have their negotiation. This is the time to negotiate. You don't negotiate after somebody has won election, like we saw in 2019, where some APC youth were going out to do protests. That appointment wasn't being given to them. It was being given to other appointments were being given to other people. So what are they doing to say, okay, they come together and say, this is what we want. We want credible people. We want competent candidates. Nigerians don't have a problem with the parties per se. They have a problem with the way the parties are being run and the people in the parties and all of that. So if they have competent candidates in this party, they're going to vote. They're going to vote. But we have to bring up these competent candidates. I'll call on Oluomo Debbie to go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Aisha. How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good, great. Well, obviously, a lot of people in our society believe without APC and PDP, we can't deliver good governance. So, I mean, there's just so many questions. I mean, the fact says it all. You look at, we've tried APC under from Obasanjo to Yar'Adua to Jonathan. What do we get? Bad governance. We've tried APC under the Buhari administration. What do we get? Bad governance. So, I mean, how long are we going to keep on deceiving ourselves? So, I mean, in my own opinion, APC equals PDP. There's no dispute with that. The statistics says it all. Obviously, a lot of problems we have today didn't just come under this administration, from the police brutality to the poor healthcare system to the bad education sector. It wasn't just under APC; it was also under PDP. So the fact says it all. So APC equals PDP. 2023. If we vote for APC and PDP, all we're going to get is continuous another few years of bad governance. That's just a fact. So both political parties have told us already from everything they've done that they cannot deliver good governance in Nigeria. That's a 100% fact. Both political parties, because sometimes people say they have structures. What structure do they have? Structures for corruption? Structures for bad governance? Both parties will never lead us, Nigerians to a better, brighter future. That's just a fact. I mean, there's other countries in Africa that have led, they've had two political parties, but they made decisions to vote for a third political party. So it's about time Nigerians wake up and understand that APC and PDP would never lead us to the promised land. All we do is just back and forth, failed promises. Just look at the presidency we have today. In Nigeria today, the Buhari administration came into power promising us about they had to fight corruption. The Transparency International in 2020, the index came out to say in 2020 Nigeria was about 149 in the world out of 180 countries. In 2021, Nigeria is 154 out of 180 countries. So that tells you that corruption has actually increased under this administration. The same administration who came on the pretext of, we're here to fight corruption, blah, blah, blah. It's actually got worse under this administration. So that tells you from APC and PDP, listen, we're not going to the promised land. So it's about time we wake up and, of course, trying to vote for a top political party. I'm going to speak after some other people and give some evidence about, look at what happened in Zambia, for example. Zambia just voted in a new president, Akinda Hichilema, which is a top political party that came in Zambia. So the Zambian people made a decision that they're not going to vote for their own APC and PDP. They voted the former president out, which is Edgar Lungu. They voted him out, which is like our own APC. So they had enough of their own APC and PDP. So we can also do that in Nigeria. How long are we going to keep on deceiving ourselves? In 2016, look at the Edo State governorship election. Governor Baseki was representing APC. Pastor Iziamu was representing PDP. In 2020, Governor Basket was representing PDP. Pastor Iziamu was representing APC. We're like jokes with these people. They don't even respect Nigerians. Just look at the Edo State governorship election. It's like back and forth. They take on like just like a recycling system, you know. And it's about time we wake up, understand that what we want is just good governance. You understand? I mean, look at the level of mass migration every day. Why are Nigerians living? Nigerians are living in the country for get a better life. Nigerians are not living in the country because they want to become millionaires. No, just for basic amenities, to live a good standard of life. We look at the level of police brutality in our country. How many police have been, you know, what's it called, taken to court or killed? Or how many Nigerians have got justice for a police officer killing you? You look at the likes of Colade Johnson, you know, Tiami, the Remo Stars footballer, Tina Zikwe. None of them have got justice in Nigeria. You know, we need to wake up our citizens of this country to understand that these two political parties will never, ever deliver good governance in our society. Are you the mic for now?
Thank you so much, Oloma of Derby. You did say that these politicians, when you made mention of the Edo State issue between Ize-Iyamu and Obaseki, you know, going from one party to another, and you say they don't even have respect for us. But the thing is that we don't even have respect for ourselves, and that's the reason why we sit down, we give up of our right, and just simply say that, oh, it's only these two parties that will win. That's us giving up our respect. Sharon, good evening, and please kindly unmute yourself and go ahead. You have the mic.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak and for organizing this. So, I mean, like, one thing I've always said is anything is possible in politics, right? So I'd align with, you know, that part of what Atedo Peter Side said, that never say never, right? But one thing I would also like to say is it's not enough for us to say, oh, APC and PDP can, you know, there are those that are saying that the only one that can produce the president are enablers, right? We also have to look at what is on land, right? The presidential election is in February next year, like almost a year to this time now. And we're talking of, okay, we're open on a third force. As of today, right? At least I don't know which of the third force has gained even any grant that is even has been active in the political space. And I'm going to give instances. When you want to win elections, the media is your first go-to, right? So that you can keep pushing your agenda. And to a large extent, we're not even talking about money now. Social media is basically free, you know. And for you to want to be a third force that want to unseat these two big parties, I would expect that every day, like morning, day, and night, we'll be hearing at least that opposition from that third force critiquing, you know, not just the federal government, but different state governments, you know, on whatever they're doing that is terrible. You know, we all know what Lai Mohammed did when they were in opposition. Lai Mohammed was in the news, it was in the papers, it was on radio, it was everywhere. And gradually, you know, that criticism of the PDP government then started gaining traction, but it was talking. So, I still don't know which third force has a publicity secretary that is even saying anything, because you're not just, like, there's no way we want to say youth should go into a third force and all of that. As a political party, the organization lies on you first, right? And that organization is not there, right? That organization is not there. Atedo Peter Side said something around, oh, we'll probably be picking from these 16 political parties. Like, what are these 16 political parties we're picking from, right? You know, and that's my position on this. Someone talked about structure. I think Olom of Derby talked about, oh, what is this structure? Having a structure as a political party is having at least a few people in over 11,000 or 12,000 political wards we have in this country, right? Which third force even has, like, all of these third force, what we just know, oh, they want to contest for president. They don't care about positions, you know, lower positions, from councillorship to chairmanship to House of Assembly to House of Rep, you know, to the Senate. The only thing we're talking about is the presidency, and you're not going to produce the presidency when you don't have people underneath you. We talked about UNDP. Olom of David talked about Zambia, right? Or that the opposition won election. they also want 44% of the majority in their legislative houses. So the point I'm trying to make is we tend to focus a lot on just the presidency and expect a third force will just come from nowhere to win the presidency without having, foot soldiers in political wards, in local governments, and across the states. And until all these the front runners of the third force are able to, show enough seriousness, right? It will be it will be something difficult to achieve. And one thing I also want to say is which is I was going to respond to what Atedo said was, one of the third force capitalizing on the fallout from either the APC or the PDP. That is literally saying people from the APC and the fallout of people from the APC and PDP, they should go and join force with the third force. So invariably, we are almost trying to still say, okay, once there is a fallout from the convention, then we should try to absorb people from the APC, from the PDP into this third force. Then what makes it a third force? So these are conversations we really need to have. One good thing we all agree is the fact that votes count. And I agree with the fact that there has to be a lot of voter education. We have to leverage on social media, WhatsApps, people composting those WhatsApp broadcasts, because at least virtually, majority of the adult population has access to WhatsApp. Some are on Facebook. Facebook is a really good tool. So we have to do a lot of voter education, at least educating people to believe that elections are going to count. Elections has been counting. Yeah, there'll be bad practices here and there, but it happens all over the world, right? So we need to all agree to continue to educate people, go beyond, go into the radio stations, local languages, educate people, and reduce the voter apathy that has made people stay away from elections. How many people produce the president? 15 million people, right? Even plus another 12 million in the other party. So like 30 million plus or minus has voted in the presidential elections in the past few elections. That is not normal. In a country where we have over almost 80 million people registered to vote, so we need to encourage people to come out and vote, encourage them that their votes will count. And while hoping that at least, some people have opined that one of the third force will get their act together. But no doubt, my political leanings is very clear. I believe so much in, the fact that Nigeria is almost a two-party state. And for you to unseat these two parties, it goes beyond, expecting for you to come and take over your party. You have to show enough work as a political party, enough organization as a political party, not just relying on civil society, but doing enough organization, enough mobilization as a political party before people can now see you as credible enough to say, oh, we want to join your party. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for contributing. Thank you so much. So I'll just take a bit of the things that you said, one after the other. One is to say that when we talk about, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this conversation, is that we're just waiting for the politicians to just give us their candidates and then we endorse, and that is it. We must do beyond that. We have unusual times, and we must do it's business unusual, and we have to do unusual things, not the one that probably happens in other places. So we the people also cannot just wait and expect that the politicians will be the one to give us candidates. We the people also must have a people's convention at our different levels, whether it's ward level, senatorial level, all across all the political posts, to say community should be able to come out and say, okay, we've checked, these are the people, do their own sort of whether it's voting, wherever it is, consensus, wherever agreement we need to agree and be able to say that, look, these are the people that we want them to. Please, can you kindly mute your mic when you sound, we'll call on you, please. So the people will to say these are the candidates that we want, right? And if the parties, if it's the two parties or whatever that do not give them, the people can go fishing. I mean, should I call it fishing now? Or go searching for other parties. And I think that's what Atedo Peter side was trying to put across. Not that, when there's a fallout and then these other people will come in and be the ones to steal. That's what they do, and that's what they're going to do anyway. Most of them, that's what they do. They already do that all the time. So what are we doing? Because what we are doing right now is that we're just sitting there passively, waiting for them to finish all the things they're going to do, and then we now come in and have that conversation. So that's one. The other thing also is that as people also, we must use our circle of influence. We are not using it. We are taking care of people's bills and all of that. We don't have political conversation with them. We are not asking them whether they have PVC. We're not asking them how they are voting or even trying to educate them. We're all from the streets. We're all from the what's this thing they call? We're all from the rural areas. We have people in the villages and all of that. Are we speaking to these people? Our vote will not count. That is the lie that has been told to people, the educated ones, the elite, and they stay out of the polling unit so that politicians will be able to buy the votes of those that they know they can buy their votes, who actually turn up for the election. So we must remember that nature abhors vacuum. And if we do nothing, we are just sitting down. These politicians will do what they want to do and give us the candidates. Whether they are competent or not is none of their business. All they'll be looking for is that the people that will come in and continue the status quo so that they'll be the ones to continue enjoying. Maureen Kabrik, I wish she was next to speak. Okay, apparently you've gone off as speaker, so I'm inviting you again. Please, Maureen Kabrik, do accept that. The next person we have Kike. Kike, please kindly unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. So what I actually want to speak on is you actually talk about the opportunity that we have to speak for ourselves and to do the right thing. You know, I was actually happy. I was part of the people that thinks APC and PDP had the only party that can produce the president until this guy, the artist, what's his name, that came out, Banky W. That came out and he was not under APC or PDP. I was actually happy and I was hoping that he could win. But to my surprise, because of his party, because of where I'm 100% sure that he came out under APC or PDP, maybe he would have won the position or maybe he would have won the whatever he came out for. But no. So I was actually disappointed that, okay, that means that it's only APC and PDP that really have like a say when it comes to like producing governor, president, or whatsoever. So the easy said and done is like, may I expect us, like we do like what you're saying now, it's easy said and done to me. Like a lot of people will be out there on social media talking about, oh, we want certain people to come out, we want this, we want that. But what actually are you doing? Like, just like I can say now that part of the people that came out during the EdSARS, they are doing something else now. As in, they are not following what they started now. You are one of the people I respect so much, like you're still doing the same thing. Like now, they all believe that, okay, let's say, okay, the person that the APC is bringing out, that's the person I'm supporting. We have no choice. Nobody's coming out. Like I tweeted something about, why are people talking about, sorry to mention the name, Tinubu alone? Like, is there no other people coming out to be the president? Why is it that it's only Tinubu I'm seeing people talking about him, like it's only him? Like, I want to see other people so that I can speak for them, like I can support them. I don't want to see the same set of people. Like, is there no other people coming out? Like, somebody retweeted that, it was like, oh, maybe they are still like, maybe they're afraid to come out or something. Why would they be afraid to come out? Like me, I want a change, but I'm not ready to be the governor or the president or the chairman or anything, but I can come out and support whoever, like a youth or another person that is not from the same category set of people. Like another person, I'm ready to support the person to come out. But I'm not seeing anyone that wanted to come out. Only these APC and PDP, that, as in those two parties, are the people that produce. I don't know the person coming out from PDP, but that APC, I sure know that somebody's coming out from APC. And that's the only person that some people are ready to vote for. But I just wish that we can just keep the same energy that we use during the EndSARS for the next election. Like I believe that if we can keep that energy, something good can come out from it. Because for the youth to speak out during the EndSARS, so why not let us speak out during the presidency election? Like, let's look for another party that we can just support and vote. Like, support them, like use that same energy that we use during the EndSARS for them. But me, to be serious, I don't know. Like, I believe, I'm hoping that it could work, but with this APC and PDP, it's like this, like I don't. They just have, like, as in their ground is so strong. Like I don't know, like I don't know who can compete with them. But I know that the youth can compete with them. I'm 100% sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kika, for that. Just to say that, like on the issue of Banky W, yeah, so Banky W, there's an APC candidate, there was a PDP candidate. At the end of the day, it's one person that actually won. And the votes, I can't remember how many thousand votes, but votes weren't that, the difference wasn't that much. He proved, at one time, I said, when the votes were coming in, it was almost as if he was going to win. And that was his first time. And so he comes again, the next time he comes again, because there's a major party, like I always say, it's only one person that will take that seat, right? It's only one person that will take that seat. So let's not look at it that, the more because somebody didn't win, the other automatically means that it's only APC or PDP that can win. And the next time he comes up, probably he's going to pull out their people. Look at the present president. He came out 3 times, 12 years. He kept coming out to come and give us this disastrous leadership. And so when people come out, you might not necessarily win the first time, but you keep coming out again and again and again. On the other name that you mentioned, honestly, I personally, I'm not going to mention that. And even when like media have asked me that, I don't talk about non-issues. I refuse to give a label or give my platform or give my space or whatever to talk about something. You know, the thing why you're hearing so much is that because there are other candidates who have come out, because people are so angry at this and they're discussing it and all of that. And when you're discussing, you're giving room to that person, you're giving your platform, you're giving your voice, that's enabling that conversation. And that's why some reason when the Twitter ban was taken, I refused to speak on that issue because I said the government will not be the one to set the agenda of what I'm going to talk about. We, the people, must begin to set that agenda. So it's a matter of choice. Sometimes it's because people are angry. You're hearing just from this side, and you think they're the only ones who are speaking. I think the next person to speak is Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, please, after speaking, I will take you off the speaker. Please, if you see me take you off the speaker platform, it's because there are other people that want to come in and want to get them there. Thank you so much. Gabriel, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I listened to the speakers and I will disagree a bit because I think I'm not an enabler as stated here, but what I want to say is practically my opinion. At this point, we have just a year to the election, and coming with third force, where are we going to start? What structure are we going to use? This is very important in politics. I have said this thing so many times on my timeline that if the APC is a name, PDP is a name, ADC is a name, if the youths can go into all these parties and chase these old people, you said you don't want to mention something, I will mention them. Somebody like Tinubu should not be coming out for an election at this particular point in time. He's coming out under APC platform because there are no enough youth there to maybe as a candidate to push him out. No enough youth there to vote in primaries. No enough youth there to stand and say no in that political party. If we can have enough youth in both youth should take over both PDP, both APC, take over everywhere. We are not supposed to be giving them platform, going to form third party to chase them out. No, we should go into those political parties where they are. We should make numbers there. We should just come up with numbers. You know, once you're a member of political party registered, you go into politics from your ward, from your local government, you come up to the state, refuse them from doing whatever they want to do, and that's their own political party. At the point, they will be the ones to say, let us give these people a chance. If we are just saying, we form youth party tomorrow, we bring one person. If we are 1,000 there, planning on how to form a new party, let me tell you, 500 people, 500 youths are ready to go to that Tinubu you are mentioning to collect money from him. That is the problem the youths in Nigeria have. Our problem is not all these things we are saying. We are sell out to ourselves. I know during NSAS protest, everybody was supporting NSAS. Today, go to timelines, you see youths, those people you see during NSAS, they are defending Tinubu. They are defending all these people. They have taken money. This is the problem we have. Our problem is not political party. Our problem, we are the problem of ourselves. We are not ready for this. If we are ready, all of us should stand. All of us should come up. During ESA, the same youths we are used against youths. You know, all these politicians, they are not much of our problem. If we can get youths together with one mind, these things are small things to do. Very, 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 very small thing. You know, if we are crying every day, planning on what to do, we are not going to achieve anything when we have not made up our mind. If we make up our mind, if they go to those youths they will use to disrupt our plan, and those youths are not giving them attention, they will automatically give up. You know, they will give up. But once they are seeing the youths they will use against the youths, the plan will be very difficult. When the people that protested in Abuja, they were attacked by the youths. The people that protested in Lagos, they were attacked by the youths. You understand? So once it's youth to youth, it's a very difficult game. You know, so what we need to do first is for the youths to come together. The youth should know themselves. They should love themselves. They should come up. They should stand together and say no. If we are not standing together, we are not going to gain anything. Thank you. That is what I want to say.
Thank you so much, Gabriel, for those points of yours. Okay, so you talked about the fact that youth should get into parties so that they'll be able to push out the older generation in those parties. Youth are already in parties. This is the thing I keep telling you. Youth are already part of those parties. They're actually the one who do a lot of the footwork. It's just that when it comes to the power sharing, they are not, they are edged out. And because they have not been able to find that place to work together, and ensure that they are standing with one voice. So let me give you an example. In 2019, after during the 2019 election, there were a lot of youths that contested, right? Most of them were actually in these two parties, to the APC and PDP, and they wanted to get the seats, the party tickets. And most of them didn't. I won't say all of them did, but most of them didn't get those party tickets. And so the thing that surprised me the most, and I think I did a series of tweet or a thread then to say, why is it that the youth of APC and PDP are not banding together and calling out the people, their party? Because for them not. I remember two people for me that stood up to crisis was the issue, was Indicato, Kaduna State, and then Rinsola Abiola. I think that's Ogun State, or if I'm they wanted to run and they didn't get the party ticket, and a lot of youth did, yet the other youth did nothing. And so when we keep saying that you want to be part of parties and all of that, they are already part of the parties. It's just the way where they are being used at, and that's the major issue. Another thing also is that it's not about, oh, the youth should come together. There's no set of people that are together. I'm of the older generation. I'm already 48. In 2 years, I'll be 50. That's how to say. We're not together. So what is most important is that, like I said, politics is not about, it's not a love affair. It doesn't want your emotions. It wants your strategy. It wants to be pragmatic. Who are the people that you have shared values with, that you have shared goals with, that your goals align? Work together with them. And they say in an alliance, in a coalition, if you like everybody, then it's not really a coalition. So people must leave whether they like somebody or they don't like somebody aside when they're working on the issue of politics. There are people who since 2015 have been hating on other people. They've been keeping malice because somebody was voted out. Meanwhile, the people that were voted out and one was voted in, they are the best of friends. They are doing bromas all over the place. And so these are the things that people have to focus on and work on in terms of getting all of this out there. So the thing, when we talk about enabling, when you say to somebody that you're the only one who can do it, then the person has no incentive to do anything better for you. It's just like you have two people who are selling something. You only go to one shop. You say, oh, you go to and you buy. And you keep saying their customer service is not good. But let me even give an example. I had a hospital when I came to Abuja. I registered in the hospital and I would go there. And every day I would complain. There were always issues in that hospital. Always issues. And I would be so angry. I would complain. I would talk. So one of these days I took my daughter there. And of course, as usual, the hospital, the service is poor. And I was there busy complaining and talking about, and my daughter then, I think she was about 9 years. And she